Islam Makakhkehv is the most boring fighter in the game today. That is correct. Even after he went out there, he beat Jack Della Madalena. He became a two-weight division champion. He tied the winning streak of Anderson Silva of 16 wins in a row. And given all that, he's still the most boring fighter in the game. First of all, I just want to say, they're not my words. They are the words of the lightweight champ and the former featherweight champion, Ilia Matador Topuria. Of course, these two don't like one another, and they do seem destined to fight at some stage. And of course, we know Islam just went out and dominated Jack Della Madalena from start to finish. And I'll give you my thoughts on the fight in a second. Here is what Ilia tweeted. Jack needs an entire camp dedicated just to wrestling. What a disappointment of a champion. You should go to Georgia to learn something because you're the most boring thing in this game. Every day, I am more certain that I can put you to sleep. Now, of course, people are going to say stuff like that because they want to fight each other. So he's trying to poke the bear and he's trying to get that matchup. Ilia says that Islam ran away to 170 because he was scared of Ilia and all the rest of it.
He knows that I'm dangerous. He knows that I'm going to put him to sleep. Even Khabib.
That's what fighters do. Don't put too much stock into that.
He said you're like the most boring fighter in the UFC or something like that. Can you give us your full thoughts on a fight with him now?
No injury, nothing. I don't feel any pains. I'm ready. Who is going to be next? Let's do this, and I will make it easy.
But we do need to talk about the fight that Islam Makakhkehv had against Jack Della Madalena, because there is a lot of people online saying that he's boring, okay? Saying that that fight with Jack Della Madalena was boring and it just turned a lot of fans off. Well, was he boring when he went out there and choked out Renato Moicano in the first round? Was he boring when he choked out Dustin Poirier in the fifth round and got a performance bonus, defended the title 4 times, by the way? Was he boring when he knocked out Alexander Volkanovski the second time by a head kick in the very first round? No. None of those performances were boring. However, I will say, Saturday night, Jack versus Islam, yeah, it was a little bit uneventful, okay? And they did have a lot of people at my house watching the fight at that time complaining, saying that it was boring. A lot of times people were looking at their phones because it was one of those matches. Listen, Islam went out there, took him down time after time. This is mixed martial arts. This is not boxing. And yes, these kind of comments are what you hear from casuals or MMA haters or boxing purists, you know, the type of people, oh, MMA is just a bunch of hugging and stuff like that. Well, he was trying to finish the fight. It's just because Jack Della Madalena had really good defense. Okay, Jack, fair play to him, never gave up. He was trying to get back to his feet and he could have given up many, many times, okay? Islam was trying to get the rear naked choke. He was trying to get the that he got on Dustin Poirier multiple times. He was trying to get the straight arm lock. But Jack knew what to do. He'd put the homework in. He'd done the necessary work to be able to defend those positions, okay? So it did seem a little drawn out. And yeah, okay, he would take him down and there was a lot of heavy downwards pressure. I even commented at one point, I said, look at that. Islam's on top of him so tightly. You couldn't fit a cigarette paper between the two bodies. And the reason you do that is because you've taken them down. You want to hold them down. You want to use your legs to pass guard, and you don't want to give separation, because when you give separation, you allow your opponent to stand. Now, Khabib was in the corner, and Khabib was shouting, smash him, smash him. And remember when Khabib was taking people down and dominating the way that he did and retired undefeated at 29-0, he would smash people. He just would.
I'm gonna smash your boy.
His ground and pound was ferocious, but oftentimes he would have him in a Dagestani handcuff. He would tie up one of the hands behind the back and then use the free hand and smash away until he got a submission. And I think also kind of the boredom factor on Saturday night that people are saying, listen, you got to admire what you saw from Islam. But I think the quote-unquote boredom was accentuated by what happened in the co-main event, because we had a very similar performance. Valentina Shevchenko dominated Zhang Weili. She was the bigger lady. She took her down. She used her wrestling and she controlled her over 5 rounds. So when you look at the card and you've got 3 unbelievable knockouts, you've got Beneil Dariush sadly getting knocked out in 16 seconds. You got Leon Edwards getting sparked by Carlos Pratis. And then you've got Michael Morales just bludgeoning Sean Brady. It's like, whoa, adrenaline overload. On the prelims, Bo Nickel just sparked out Rodolfo Vieira in the 3rd round as well with the vicious head kick. So when you put all that together, it's like the adrenaline's building, the night's going like, oh my God, this is going to be the best pay-per-view of all time. Then you get to the big fights, the title fights, the main event and the co-main event, and it's 50 minutes of essentially grappling. So yeah, I think that's why a lot of people are saying that. And of course, Ilia Topuria is going to come out and say that because he wants that fight. Could you imagine if Ilia Topuria was afforded the ability to go up and become a 3-weight division champion? Again, I say it all the time. No one's ever done that. And I don't think that's what's going to happen here just yet. I think Ilia's going to defend. We don't know who it's going to be. Could be Ahmed Sarukian because he's fighting next week in Qatar. It could be Paddy. It could be Justin Gaethje. But he's got to fight one of those. And he's probably going to defend a couple more times as well before he even thinks about going up to welterweight. And then when you look at welterweight, I mean, what is going to happen there? Because the welterweight division is ridiculous right now. Of course, Michael Morales has a claim to fighting for the belt because he's 19-0. He's undefeated and just knocked out Sean Brady. You've got Carlos Pratis that just sparked out former champion Leon Edwards in devastating fashion, did something that no one's ever done to Leon Edwards. So he's got a shot. You've also got Shavkat Rakhmonov that was the #1 contender, but then he got injured. You've got Bilal Muhammad going up against Ian Gary. Ian Gary's making a lot of noise saying that he wants to fight for the belt as well. And then, of course, after all that, you've got Kamaru Usman, the Nigerian nightmare. So there is no shortage of opponents. Oh, you've also got Joaquin Buckley. Joaquin Buckley's been doing great things and looking phenomenal lately as well. And he wants a title shot as well. So you put it all together. I mean, I don't think Ilia Topuria is going to get a shot to go up and fight Islam Makakhkehv. And if you ask me, I think the fact that Islam said he wants to fight Kamaru Usman out of all of those people, I think you put all that together and then you factor in the fact that Kamaru Usman is 37 years old or 38. He's getting towards the end of his career. That's what I'm saying. He just beat Joaquin Buckley. He's probably going to have 1 or 2 more fights before he retires and goes off into the sunset after an incredible career. He's one of the greatest welterweights that the sport's ever seen. He's got the time served. He's had the title defenses. He's been good for the company. He's been a reliable guy. He stepped up against Khamzat Chimaev on short notice and went up a weight class. All this kind of stuff, you know, when you look at it all, I think, and you factor in, by the way, Islam wants to fight him. Islam wants Kamaru. You put all that together, I think it's probably going to be Kamaru Usman next.
Really? If you give me the choice and ask me who you want to fight, I will take Kamaru, but it's not my job.
Anyway, I'm digressing and going off topic. Ilia is saying that Islam was boring, the most boring. And there's people online saying the same thing. And I kind of get that. I understand what they're saying. It wasn't the most exciting fight. It really wasn't. And it did kind of let the air out of the room a little bit. But that's only because Jack Della Madalena had done his homework and was able to defend. And then you can kind of compare it to what happened with Khamzat Chimaev and Dricus du Plessis earlier in the year. Khamzat Chimaev went out there and dominated Dricus, took him down very, very easily, time after time, held him down for 25 minutes. I get it. People want to see action. They want to see finishes. But Khamzat was trying to get the finish. Islam was trying to get the finish. You don't always get that. It's just like if you're on the feet and you're swinging punches on the feet and you don't get the finish, right? You're trying, you know, you're committing to the shots. You're putting yourself in the danger zone. Anytime you take someone down and get in their guard, you can get submitted yourself. They're trying to take them out. They're trying to finish the fights. You can't look at the career of Islam Makakhkehv and say that the man is boring. But I get why casuals would say that. I certainly get why Ilia Topuria would say that. If that was me, if I was Ilia, if I wanted to fight Islam, I would say exactly the same thing. I probably would have gone a little bit harder because that's what you do when you're trying to get a matchup.
That's how you put yourself out there. You believe it and you achieve it. And that's what I do. I know what I'm going to do. I know that I'm better than this.
Sounds like
I
the
know
worst
that I'm going to knock
book
him out.
you've ever read. Conceive, believe, achieve. Shut the up.
But anyone else that watches that said it was a boring fight. Yeah, it was. It wasn't the most exciting, but then you got to factor in all the finer nuances. You got to factor in the submission defense of Jack Della Madalena. Okay, that's kind of what made it boring. Yeah, okay, Islam could have postured up. He could have done some damage. He could have landed some elbows. He could have punched down. He could have just had a little bit more action. But the reality is, He became a 2-weight division champion, tied the winning streak of Anderson Silva, put himself up there with the GOATs of mixed martial arts, and I cannot wait to see who he fights next. Who do you think is next for Islam Makakhkehv out of all of those great contenders that's available? And what do you think about Ilia Topuria calling him the most boring fighter? Was the fight boring? Let me know in the comment section, please. I get it. It wasn't a barn burner. It wasn't an instant classic. It was a drawn-out affair over 25 minutes. But what do you think? Was it boring? Was it great? Was it technical brilliance? Because it was actually technical brilliance. Just because you can't get the submission doesn't mean you're boring. Anyway, let me know what you think about that. Everything what I just said, I gotta go. I'm jumping on a plane to Qatar tomorrow, so I gotta pack. I'll see you soon.